This is the southwest quarter of Section 8 in Wilkin County, Minnesota. In 1891, Ben Braton bought the rights to a tree claim from Nellie Breslin for $45. In 1892, the ruling was to plant 20 acres of trees and maintain 10 acres. The contract had to be signed in the county where the claim was, so an attorney from Barnesville walked out on the railroad track and met Ben at the county line to sign the contract. On December 12, 1898, the contract was signed by the President William McKinley. In 1892, Ben broke up some land and planted trees and grain. He then built a 16 by 24 foot granary with an 8 by 16 foot lean-to for a machine shed. He kept his 6-foot grain binder, a 5-foot mower, a walking plow, and a walking cultivator under the lean-to. In 1898, Ben got the deed to his new farm. He put up a big 8-room house, and a family of 13 were raised, 7 sons and 6 daughters. He also built a big barn. He had more machinery now, so he had a machine shed built onto the barn. He always kept his machinery, wagons, and buggy in the shed when not in use. It was hard to know where east and west was when the granary was built. So, when he put up the rest of the buildings, he noticed that the granary was sitting a little cornerways. Someone told Ben that he would move the granary straight. Ben asked him about the lean-to, and he said it would be like a sheep come dragging its tail behind it. He straightened the granary and set it on big stones. Ben had some chickens that would go under the granary and lay eggs. The boys would have to go under the granary to get the eggs.
The granary used to sit on a few big stones, and there wasn't a cement floor then. It was a wooden floor, and it would come down to here. And when I was a little feller, we used to crawl under there. The hens would go under and make a nest, and we'd go under, crawl under there every so often to pick up the eggs that were in there. So it was only a little narrow place there to crawl, and now when I think about it, I still get scared thinking if he'd have got caught under there, wouldn't have been room to get out.
The granary had 4 8 by 8 grain bins and an 8 by 16 foot walkway, where Ben kept the fanning mill, the scale shovel, and the broom. This building was 8 feet high and had an upstairs in it. Ben had a ladder on hinges to go upstairs. When he needed more room, they raised the bottom of the ladder and hooked it on hooks so it would hang over the heads. Each bin had a 16 by 16 inch hole cut into the wall so they could shovel the grain in from the wagon box at threshing time. It also had 2 rings fastened to the south wall, so when the neighbors came over, they could tie their horses to them. The neighbors came real often to visit those days. Ben always farmed with horses. This little cement bridge was built by Ben. It crossed the ditch and was used as a walkover bridge between the house and the barn.
So every time it rained, the water would run through the ditch, so my dad built this cement bridge so we could walk over it. And then down a ways was a wooden bridge to drive over with a hay rack and whatever, horses. And the barn was down a ways farther than the ditch here, and the house was up on this side. We'd walk that many times a day. And to build it, they put a barrel in there for a form, and then run the cement over it. And then when the cement dried, they take the barrel out, and here they had this rounded cement bridge.
Ben rented the farm to Thorald in the fall of 1944 on his 80th birthday. Thorald bought 160 acres just south of the home place in 1940. Thorald was still working for Ben at that time, so Thorald rented his 160 acres to Loren Braton and Fred Scheffler. They broke up some of the sod. After renting the home place, Thorald bought a used W.C. Ellis Chalmers and farmed 320 acres. Ben passed away July 28, 1952, and Inez and Thorald bought the home place from the rest of the family. Thorald had more grain, so they remodeled the granary in 1957. They took out the wood floor and put in a cement floor and foundation.
Decided to put a cement foundation under here and run the floor at the same time. The 2x6s used to sit on top of this big beam here, and then the floor was on top of that. So we took the 2x6s and set them up and made the bins higher because we needed more bin room. And then we took the floorboards and made the bins. We tore that all out and put it on the cement blocks, and then a bunch of us got together. Them days we bought the cement in 60-pound bags. I forget what they was, $1.50 a bag, I guess, something like that. And we went to the neighbors up here about a mile away and got some gravel, the old team and wagon, shoveled it on, and shoveled it off again. Then I had the gravel pile here, and the cement here, and then I got Sam and Walter and Loren and I, and we all went to work.
In June of 1971, Thorald re-sided the granary and painted it white and put the date of its construction near the peak. This roof has been shingled 3 or 4 times. Thorald put the shingles on the south half himself in 1958 and again in 1963. The north side of the roof needed new shingles, so Thorald hired the J.H. Fish Company to put a new tin roof on. In July of 1992, Thorald hired someone to put a tin roof on the south side, as he didn't think he would be able to climb around on the roof anymore. Thorald thought the new roof would be a good 100th birthday present for the granary.
Yeah, last year the shingles began to get pretty rough looking on here. I'm going to shingle it, but then I thought, well, the old granary was built in 1892. Why not wait till this year and give it a birthday present? I had quite a job getting somebody to put them on. I didn't dare to climb up there anymore. But then Jim found Merlin Strum and Jeff. They come and tore the shingles off and pulled all the nails and put up this tin all in one day. So then I took the shingles over to Edna's to burn in her stove.
The granary is still in good shape, but the lean-to was in bad shape when they re-sided, so they took it off. Thorald rented his land out in the fall of 1985. He had a lot of grain on hand, as he could only sell as much as his Social Security would allow.
We was going to Moorhead, so I took a sample of my barley and stopped at Baker. And they looked it over and told me what they could give me for it. How much was it? $3.65 a bushel. When I come back, I stopped at Barnesville Elevator and asked them. They couldn't give me near that much. Next day I went to Rotsey to the elevator, took the same sample. They paid about the same as Barnesville, so I hauled it to Baker. And they even gave me a cap from the elevator. So made good on that deal.
There was about 25 bushels left in the bin. Thorald decided to leave it in the bin until 1992, so he could say that Ben and Thorald have had grain in this bin for 100 years.